Greetings, and I hope all of you are having an incredible day. And my hope is that this information makes a difference for you because I was thinking to myself, what can I give if I could give anyone some of the things I've learned in business, working for myself for the last 20 plus years? Like, what are some of the key things that could help someone have their breakthrough? Things that I wish I would have learned earlier, but now you get to hear now. So what I'd love to have you do is comment, is if these concepts, these principles resonate with you, then I'd love to hear you. I'd love for you to comment. I look at everything. I want to get your feedback because you're having your own experiences. So the nature of what this is about what are the things that I needed to do to create self-confidence. Now, and I think everyone looks at the word self-confidence and you look at someone who's successful in any field and you automatically think, oh, well, that's just how they are. But confidence oftentimes is a learned skill. And you can grow that skill, but you have to actually be intentional. And I was thinking to myself, what are some of the things that I either stumbled upon or learned along the way? And I'm going to give these things to you right now. And if all these things resonate or any of these things resonate with you, then wonderful. The root of confidence is confidelis, which means to trust. And so when you have self-confidence, you're basically just saying, I trust myself. Really simple, but not something that everyone does right away. And so here's the first thing that you have to do, which was really, really, really big. You have to ignore negatives from your past. Now, what do I mean when I say that? What I mean when I say that is this. We've all screwed up. I've screwed up. You've screwed up. Everyone you know who looks perfect has screwed up. You either have screwed up, you're screwing up, or you will screw up soon enough. Those are the only three options. The challenge is sometimes we take something as a permanence. And what we do is you don't do it right the first time, or you don't launch that successful business the first time, or you don't achieve that great thing you wanted in your career the first time. And instead of looking at that as just a moment, you make it a permanent. And that's a problem. You have to ignore what you didn't do. Because, the great thing about being alive is every day is a reset opportunity. But for most people, they are in this current year, but they're reliving 5, 6, 7 years ago stuff. And it's really hard to see yourself new when you keep focusing on everything that you didn't do right before, whether that's in health, that's in business, that's in finance, relationship, doesn't matter. The challenge is if you are here and you're not here, if you're here but you're there, then you're really there even though you're physically here. So you've got to ignore the negatives from your past. Don't keep focusing on what I did didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. What is the point of being alive to be stuck on what didn't work? Here's the second thing, and this is a little bit more intimate because this is a tremendous killer of self-confidence. And you have, if you can create an awareness around this, it becomes like a shield around your mind where you get to look up and say, oh, nope, you're not getting in here. And that's ignore the negatives from other people, the negative opinions other people have. Everyone, let me tell you something. If there's anything that I have learned about human beings, is that human beings speak to you from where they are. I'll say that again. Human beings speak to you from where they are. So when you want to do something new and someone says, oh, that's not going to work, that's because from where they are, it's not going to work. They don't have the ability. But let me tell you something. There's never been a creature born that thought to do something outside of what it was capable of doing. I'll say that again. There's never been a creature born that thought to do something outside of what it was capable of doing. Let me give you an example. You've never seen a whale look up at the sky at a bird and say, man, I really wish I could do that. That's never happened. The bird and the whale, they know what they're capable of doing and they stay in their lane. Human beings have the most amazing gift of imagination to be able to create with a single thought something that never existed before. We've flown in the sky because someone had an imagination. We've gone to the depths of the ocean because of imagination. We're about to conquer space as leisure travel because of imagination. Imagination is everything. But here's the thing. Whenever there is someone with an amazing imagination, there's someone else with a limiting belief system in themselves, and they want to take their self-limiting belief system and create a limitation on the imagination of that other person. And some of these people love you. They have your last name. They share your bed. You've been friends for years, but you don't occupy the same space in the world. So why would you need that person to buy into everything you're doing? And I see it so often. This is so common. Person, great idea, motivated, can go for it. Brother says you'll never make it, just gives up. Just totally folds up tent. Well, can't make it. Just it, done. I had a dream, but it's not going to happen because my brother told me it's not going to happen, or my cousin, or my wife, my husband, my best friend for 30 years told me it's not going to happen. And that's it, done. And I see, if I had $1 for every person that I know personally had absolutely everything it took to be successful in a thing and just threw it out the window because one or two people, usually the closest to you, stepped into the gap. Here's the gap. The gap is, here's where I am, here's where I want to be. And in between those two things is the gap. And sometimes negative opinions of other people jumps into that gap, and now you can't cross over to where you want to be. But you let them in there. And even if someone gives you the comment, doesn't mean you have to keep them in there. You can let them go. They don't have to stay there. So an important trait for self-confidence is, who are you letting speak to self? You know, when you speak to self, that was the first thing I addressed. Don't focus in on everything you haven't done. But here's the second self. Who are you letting speak to self? Because who you let in here and what they do in here, you've got to pay attention to that. Because not everyone needs to occupy space. Some folks need to get out. And you know who they are. As I'm speaking right now, you know who they are. But here's the third thing that I've discovered for self-confidence, and it is something way outside of self. You see, you could talk to yourself and have you focus in on your present and not what you did in the past. You can pay attention to when people are giving you their negativity for why you can and can't do something. But here's the third thing. This is the final thing that I've discovered that I didn't know, but man, now that I know, it's really changed everything, and that's trust God. Now, trust God. Now, for those of you that have faith, you're like, no, I believe in God. I didn't say believe in God. I said trust God. Now, there's a difference. You see, remember before I said confidence, confidelis, to trust? What I've discovered is the greatest way that I've found to trust myself is to trust God. And what I mean by that is to trust that God has my best interests at heart. I don't necessarily need to understand how what I have in my heart is going to happen, but I just need to trust that God wants that which is best for me, and that this thing that I'm pursuing is positive, and that if it is a positive thing and is going to enhance the quality of my life, people around me, that kind of thing, then why would God withhold that from me? Unless God sees something that I don't see. But so often we rely only unto our own understanding, and we don't turn things over. Sometimes you have to allow for the faith that comes in the world of what you cannot see in life, business, all those other things. And I see so many people that they pray every day. Whatever your faith is, they pray every day. They pray faithfully. But when the moment of trust is necessary, by the way, you only need to trust God when you can't figure it out yourself. Well, if you could figure it out yourself, you'd already have it. So why you should trust God is, number one, left to your own devices, you'll probably take the path of least resistance, or you'll take the path of easiest commitment. But when you trust God, you're willing to be at a higher level of commitment, because you're like, you know what, God's got my back. Like, I'm willing to go above and beyond because God is my wind. And if I can just get in the ship and I can just raise my sail, I've got to trust God is my wind. And God is going to help guide me to that next shore that I want to go to. It's not going to be just what I see in myself. It's not going to be the opinions of other people. No, God is my wind. I'm in the boat. I've got to do two things. I've got to get in the boat, and I've got to do the work to raise my sail. But I've got to trust that God is my wind, and God is going to take me to the place that I'm supposed to be. And if I can believe in that, then I go into my day with a different level of confidence, because I understand that, yes, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but there's a wind behind me making sure that I get it done. These are 3 principles. I hope they made a difference for you. I'd love to see your comments about what you just heard. What you have more? I'd love to see it. If you're seeing this on YouTube, make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Make sure that you engage. I read everything. And my hope and prayer is that you take this information and you make another day of your life better than the day before. Take care. God bless.